Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Chapter 1. The Dark Past Resurfaces. It was an unusually chilly evening in Weatherfield. The streetlights flickered softly, casting long shadows across the cobbled streets of Coronation Street. Inside the Rover's return, the atmosphere was thick with tension as old friends gathered, whispering about the latest scandal. Amongst them was Lauren Bolton, her face pale and drawn, eyes darting around the pub nervously. She had every reason to be anxious. Joel's court date had finally been revealed, and it was bringing with it the possibility of dark secrets resurfacing. Joel Devereux, a name that had recently begun to echo down the narrow lanes of Weatherfield, was not a stranger to trouble. His arrival months ago had set off a chain of events that no one could have predicted. On the surface, Joel appeared to be a charming lawyer, sharp and competent. But beneath his professional facade, there was something far more sinister lurking, a part of his past he thought he had left behind. And now, with the court date looming, Lauren knew it was only a matter of time before everything unraveled. Lauren had been Joel's confidant, once even a close friend. She had seen glimpses of his darker side, moments of cruelty that were difficult to forget. But back then, she hadn't fully understood the depths of his manipulation. Now, with his trial date approaching, she feared what might come to light. Would Joel turn the tables on her? Would she be implicated in his twisted game? The thought sent a chill down her spine. Chapter 2. Secrets in the Shadows. Lauren paced the length of her small flat, her mind racing with worry. She had tried to cut ties with Joel months ago, after realizing that being associated with him could be dangerous. But Joel was not the kind of man who let people walk away easily. He had a way of pulling people back in, making them feel trapped. And now, with his trial date set, it seemed like he was about to make his next move. The court case itself was shrouded in mystery. All Lauren knew was that it involved serious allegations from Joel's past, something connected to his time as a defense attorney in a high-profile case years ago. Rumors had been swirling around for months, talk of blackmail, corruption, and even murder, but no one knew for sure what the charges were or how Joel had managed to avoid being caught for so long. Lauren's heart raced as she thought about what Joel might do next. Would he try to manipulate the trial, just as he had manipulated so many people before? Or worse, would he try to involve her in his schemes again? She had already noticed strange things happening. Anonymous letters left at her door, cryptic messages on her phone. It was clear that someone was watching her, and she had a sinking feeling that Joel was behind it. She glanced at the calendar on her wall, where the date of Joel's court appearance was circled in red. It was just a few days away now. Every minute that passed felt like a countdown to disaster. Chapter 3. The Panicked Encounter. As the days crept closer to Joel's court date, Lauren couldn't shake the feeling that she was being followed. Every time she left her flat, she felt eyes on her, like someone was watching her every move. Paranoia gnawed at her, making it hard to sleep, hard to think. Then, one evening as she was walking back from the corner shop, she heard footsteps behind her. They were slow, deliberate, and too close for comfort. Her pulse quickened, and she quickened her pace, hoping it was just her imagination. But the footsteps grew louder, faster, until they were right behind her. Suddenly, a hand grabbed her arm, yanking her into the shadows of an alleyway. She gasped, heart pounding in her chest, as she turned to face her attacker. But it wasn't a stranger, it was Joel. "Lauren," he whispered, his voice low and menacing, "we need to talk." Fear shot through her as she tried to pull away, but his grip was too strong. His eyes were cold, calculating, and there was a dangerous edge to his expression. "I've been trying to get in touch with you," he continued, his tone chilling. "You've been avoiding me." Lauren swallowed hard, trying to stay calm. "Joel, please, I don't want any part of this. I'm done with whatever you're involved in." Joel's grip tightened, and he leaned in closer, his breath hot against her ear. "You don't get to decide that, Lauren. Not after everything you know." She froze. What did he mean by that? What did he think she knew? "I've got my court date coming up," Joel said, his voice now eerily calm, "and I need your help. You're going to do exactly what I say, or I'll make sure your little secrets come out." Lauren's heart raced as panic surged through her. What secrets was he talking about? She had nothing to hide, or at least she thought she didn't. But Joel was a master manipulator, and she knew better than to underestimate him. I don't know what you're talking about," she stammered, her voice trembling. Joel smiled, but it was a cold, cruel smile. "You will soon enough, and trust me, Lauren, if you don't play along, you'll regret it." With that, he released her arm and walked away, disappearing into the darkness of the alley. Lauren stood there, shaken and terrified. Whatever Joel had planned for his court date, it was going to be far worse than she had imagined, and now she was caught in the middle of it. Chapter 4. The Court Date Looms. In the days leading up to the court date, Lauren became increasingly paranoid. Joel's threats echoed in her mind, and she found herself constantly looking over her shoulder, expecting him to appear at any moment. The anonymous messages continued, growing more and more cryptic. She was certain now that Joel was behind them, trying to wear her down, to make her feel vulnerable. Meanwhile, the people of Weatherfield were buzzing with gossip about Joel's upcoming trial. The whispers grew louder as more details about the case emerged. Talk of witness intimidation, falsified evidence, and a series of mysterious disappearances linked to Joel's previous clients. Everyone had their theories, but no one knew the full truth, and Joel, as always, remained an enigma. On the morning of the court date, Lauren could barely bring herself to leave her flat. She had hardly slept the night before, haunted by nightmares of Joel exposing her in court, revealing some terrible secret she didn't even know she had. But she knew she couldn't hide forever. If she didn't show up, Joel would come after her, and if she did show up, well, she had no idea what would happen. With trembling hands, she dressed and made her way to the courthouse. The streets were unusually quiet, and the gray clouds overhead seemed to mirror the dread she felt in her heart. As she approached the courthouse, she saw a crowd of reporters gathered outside, their cameras flashing as they waited for Joel to arrive. Lauren kept her head down, hoping to go unnoticed. But as she stepped inside the building, she felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned around to find herself face to face with Joel. "Glad you could make it," he said with a sly grin. "Remember, Lauren, stick to the plan, and everything will be fine." Her stomach churned. What plan? He hadn't told her anything. Before she could respond, Joel was ushered into the courtroom by his lawyer, leaving Lauren standing alone in the hallway, her heart pounding in her chest. Chapter 5. A Dark Revelation. The courtroom was packed with people, reporters, curious onlookers, and, of course, the key players in Joel's trial. As the proceedings began, Lauren sat at the back, her nerves frayed, barely able to focus on what was happening. The prosecution laid out their case, detailing the allegations against Joel, claims of corruption, manipulation of the legal system, and even ties to organized crime. It was worse than Lauren had imagined. But then something strange happened. As the trial progressed, the focus began to shift. The prosecutors started asking questions that seemed to have nothing to do with the case at hand. Instead, they were focused on Lauren. "Ms. Bolton," the prosecutor said, turning to face her, "would you care to explain your connection to the defendant?" Lauren's heart stopped. She wasn't supposed to be a part of this. She wasn't on trial. But now all eyes were on her. I don't have a connection to him," she stammered, her voice barely audible. The prosecutor raised an eyebrow. "Is that so? Because we have evidence to suggest otherwise." Before she could protest, a series of documents were presented to the court, emails, text messages, even phone records, all showing a pattern of communication between Lauren and Joel that painted a very different picture. It made it look like she had been involved in his schemes all along. Panic surged through her as she realized what was happening. Joel had set her up. This was his plan all along, to drag her down with him, to make her the scapegoat for his crimes. And now there was nothing she could do to stop it. As the courtroom descended into chaos, Lauren's world began to crumble. The dark move Joel had been planning for weeks had finally been revealed, and it was far worse than she could have ever imagined. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our channel Street Gossip for more update news.